What's up? This is the Burn Rate Podcast with me, Kyle Oren, and Clay Zingler of Rabbit Punch Social Club. I think it's been about 5 months since we did a podcast. I'm not making any excuses. You're just going to have to listen to this to see if it sucks. During that time, I put together a website called goodhabitsforabadback.com. Basically, the name sums it up, but there's also a lot of articles and a lot of tips on nutrition, working out, fitness, meditation, and a few other topics that might be able to help somebody out if they stumble onto the website. So, it took me a minute to put that together, but back at it. You could check out Rabbit Punch Social Club at facebook.com/RPSC Personal Training. I'll have the links posted in the description of this podcast. So, with all that said, here it is. Spider cans.
Spider can. Da-da-da-da, spider can.
Hashtag spider cans.
It's back.
We're watching it again like
We are
this is
back.
happening in the basement full of spiders. We had to check Clay's headphones for spiders. But it's like that. It's like that.
Just your eye.
Podcast.
All right. That was fun. Social media.
Yes, sir.
Like we just got a little taste
Yeah.
of like how distracting it can be. Like we could have been like 9 minutes into this podcast already, but we just Instagrammed the fuck out of some shit.
Decided to try and make a video and figure out the correct hashtag.
Right. So like that literally took way too long, pretty much. And then we watched the video because we were, well, how do we look? How do we sound?
Well, you have to.
Yeah, you got it.
Well, yeah.
What kind of psycho like does a video like that, doesn't even check it and just puts it out? Like that's
And
un-American.
overly confident.
That's not even right.
George Clooney.
And just like doesn't even look back at it. It's just like, yeah. Well, yeah.
No,
I mean,
George Clooney would look at it.
you know what I mean? He'd be like, let's see if that's my good angle.
He would wanna
Delete
make
that,
sure
let me
it
redo
is.
it again. But like, would he redo it again? I don't know.
Well, what if his Caesar haircut's not looking all Caesar-y?
Right. But just to have that confidence, just to be like, got it, nailed it, send it, like not even check it.
Which I find, no. Plus, you got to pick filters.
Yeah, I was listening to this guy today, and he's like, "That's what's wrong with millennials. Is like there's a filter on everything." He's like, when they go to work, they're like, "Okay, where's the filter that makes this better?" I'm out. I'm like, "Oh wait."
It's no.
I'm like, that might be my problem too. I don't know.
No. It's true, and I'm not going to.
Like, is this getting any better instantly?
Well, it's funny because like, okay, being in the profession that I am at the gym 4 or 5 hours every day, 7 days a week. And I see lots of men and women who like to take lots of pictures of themselves.
Whilst working out.
Well, not most of it is just like while standing in front of a mirror.
Oh,
but some of these people I'll come across when I'm doing stuff for my page. And I find it funny that that's not what they look like when they're in the gym, but the filters add
yeah.
a completely different. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, not too many people will post like the ugliest picture of them and be like, "Hey, it's a better surprise. They see me in person. I look a little better
right.
than my pictures."
Excuse me. Right, but I think, you're definitely given an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah, or just the ability to put stuff out there, like everyone's like, my life's amazing, to every but meanwhile they're crying themselves to sleep every night. Like that whole thing. Like that's what a little bit of a downfall about social media, I think.
Right. Well, I think it's absolutely, because I think it's for some people it's probably a definite escape from their reality.
Right, it's
like whatever.
This dude was saying that like it releases dopamine, just like drinking or doing drugs.
I would imagine.
No,
I would imagine. I would imagine I bet if there was some sort of, well, I'm sure there is a study out, but I would place money on the fact that social media is probably one of the quickest rising addictions.
Yeah, and
Especially like Snapchat and Instagram, because it's your face, or it's, I mean, like, you could put weird, like, bunny filters on it so you look like a rabbit, or like different angles, and everything's like, but it's all filtered, so
I
none
like
of
that.
it is
That's my favorite part of it.
the bunny
The
filters.
bunny filters,
Yeah.
my favorite.
But I think it's a definite addiction. I think for sure.
But another thing that I thought was interesting is he mentioned, I forgot what the guy's, he was just talking about millennials and how social media is affecting millennials. And one of the things he brought up was it hits you like drinking and drugs and all this stuff, but you need, at least for drinking, there's a drinking age. Like, you got to get to 21 to start. But with social media, you could be 6 and you're,
Well, I mean, I
7.
know I have friends that have kids, and I have one friend that his 10-year-old has a phone. And it's funny because he's my age. He grew up in like the same time frame that I grew up. He's a couple years younger than me, but the same time frame. And his reasoning is actually quite hilarious, where it's, well, I want him to be able to check in with us and everything. I go, dude, you managed to live your entire life.
I'm not
we
mad
had
at a phone, though.
payphones.
Like, a phone's a good idea for a kid to have.
I understand, but
you know?
but his reasoning, though, is like, I just want him to be able to get in touch with me. I was like, yeah, but like, we had payphones. Like, and half the time most people didn't have answering machines. Like, you just would call, and then you'd call maybe 3 or 4 times. But like you always, like, you made it to be your age. Like, so I just think it's funny that people, non-millennials, but what, Generation X, that give their kids phones, their reasoning is funny based on, we grew up with no cell phones, and it was pay phones. And some
Right.
people had rotary dial phones still. Like, answering machines didn't really come into play. And I mean, maybe the 80s? Really?
Answering machines. Those
Yeah.
were the best. Remember, you could get like the answering machine mixed tape or whatever. You
Yeah.
could go buy that thing. It would be like some weird jingle or something some guy would make up, and you could buy that.
Yeah.
That guy made $3 probably.
But
That
it's
was,
just
no, it was huge.
it's funny though. I find a lot. I mean, I don't know. I don't have kids. I don't know what I would do. I mean, but
I think it's kind of cool because it's just becoming something like obviously huge, the social media thing,
Right.
and then these kids are learning how to master it so young, and whatever that rolls into, they're just going to roll into it right with it. So I think that's a pretty cool thing. But what happens if there's no more electricity? There's no more internet? I don't know. That's a little ridiculous to think about. But at the same time, like, these kids are really dependent on the internet, and all of a sudden, for some reason, Trump screws up royally, like he hasn't already, whatever. But like, whatever, something catastrophic, not even beyond presidents and humans, happens.
sure.
Then what do these kids
Well,
do?
I think this may come across.
Well, what
as,
does anyone do at that point?
Well, this may come across as weird sounding, but I think you would you'd have a lot of like withdrawal states, like withdrawals. You know what I mean? Like, kids just not,
right? Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's sort of like someone like that's quitting smoking or in detox for drug abuse, and they're freaking out, like they're in their bed shaking and sweating. Like, is some kid just gonna be like pacing the house, like just making a circle track on the carpet because they don't know what to do?
Yeah, and
Like,
they're
I
like,
can't get in touch with my friends. I don't know what to do. No one's gonna see a picture of me right now.
then, like, there'll be dudes on the street corner be like, I got 50 Facebook likes. I got 50 Facebook likes. Come on.
But I mean, what was it? Wasn't it?
That was a voice of a Puerto Rican, if you guys were wondering. That was a white Puerto Rican.
a white Puerto Rican
Yes.
from the north side of Puerto Rico.
Who had a sex change.
Cool. Well, he's got the likes, so
There you
if
go.
you need likes, get with that person.
With that person.
But wasn't was it Total Recall that they had? I think it was in Total Recall that they had like a weird computer, like you had to go to like that weird part on the planet where like the rebels were, and they had like computer access or something, but it was all had to be secret because there was no, like, the government controlled everything.
Oh, I have to watch that movie again.
There's a lot of stuff in that movie
Yeah.
that is like today.
Yeah, we Tori and I watched Back to the Future over the weekend.
Okay.
And I was just like, there's a few things in there that came true, you know?
Yeah.
Like the Nike shoes that like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
put them
yeah.
on, they
The
instantly
supposed
like,
laceless
cinched up.
or whatever.
Yeah, that happened. Didn't the Cubs win? Like
The Cubs
in
won.
2015?
Yeah.
Was that 2015? Yeah.
Cubs won. No, Cubs won last year.
Or when was that last year or 2015? Anyway.
2016. Cubs
Oh, okay.
won.
Well,
Yeah,
then that's
yeah,
a year off. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, they predicted that too.
Well, that's like in Total Recall, they had, when you were inside that, like, I guess it was a city or compound or whatever in that planet, they had billboards that were LED billboards that would just, like, they would talk to you and they would change, like, you could have like 3 or 4 different things on, and dude, those are all over 75. I mean, they've been on 75 though for a while. Like, it's been like, I noticed them like maybe like 5-7 years ago, but they have LED. There's like 3 or 4 different ads, and I saw one the other day, and it was 2 people interacting on a billboard.
But one thing I was cracking up about Back to the Future is like when you get to Back to the Future 2, you know, the one we're talking about, like the whatever, that's the one we're talking about, duh.
Mm-hmm.
But the flying cars, everyone's like, yeah, it's gonna be flying cars.
Yeah.
There's gonna be flying cars. And when I was a kid watching that, like at the theater, I was like, yeah, there's gonna be flying cars in 2015 for sure.
Well, you gotta figure what that was. Back to the Future 2 is what, like 87?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean 87, maybe 88. I don't know.
So I mean that's a long way. So that's far away. I mean that's a ways back.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was not totally far fetched. I'm surprised.
But also, what you don't see is anyone using a cell phone. Like, you don't see people walking around with cell phones in 2015 in Back to the Future too.
Right,
Yeah.
you don't.
And then also,
Yeah, but you see a hoverboard.
yeah, you see that, and which I think actually was made. 1 or 2 of them are made. Actual hoverboards, not the ones with the wheels that blow
Which
up.
is not a hoverboard. It's a board
Right.
with wheels.
Yeah, I
that
think
they
an
call a
actual.
hoverboard.
At least that's what I thought. I think there was like one person.
No, I saw a video of it, but it was
yeah, right?
it was
it a fake video?
It was magnetized. So
Oh,
it was
is that
on
what it
like
was?
there was a magnetic track
okay.
underneath the cement,
That makes sense. Okay.
and then the guy like cruised around. It was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a makeshift skate park kind of thing.
Okay, I thought it was some other crazy.
But
stuff.
I mean, that's better than we've had. I mean,
Yeah, but so you can't really rock it. You know what I mean?
you're
It's
not-
like
you
you're just
can't
trying to
leave
stay
that
on the damn
specific
thing.
area.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work if you're not on the track. But
And also in Blade Runner, what year is that supposed to take place in? It's kind of like the same thing as.
I think it's supposed to be. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be in the 2000s.
Yeah.
A lot of that, like Escape from New York, Escape from L.A., like all of that's like futuristic. I'm not.
But one of the
100%
best
sure
scenes
the
though
time.
is like he's near in the future and everything, and Harrison Ford like has to call somebody, and he walks up to a payphone. He's like,
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
No,
like,
it's
people did not see the cell phones coming, you know, back in the day. In the 80s, I don't think people knew that was going to be a thing.
Would you think the what were they called in Star Trek? The transponders, like the little, they looked like a flip phone.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I mean,
know what you're
maybe
talking
that
about.
would
I don't know
be-
what I'm not the biggest Trekkie, but yeah.
But that would be like your probably closest thing is when they would pull that out, and it was sort of like the Nextel ones, you know, that you'd click, dial
Right.
people and shit.
Right?
I think that was Star Trek was probably the closest ones. But it is funny that Total Recall had talking billboards, had like all sorts of other futuristic shit that we use now, but no cell phones.
No one saw it coming.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like with social media, like that's going to roll into something that no one saw coming. That's what I
Right.
think for sure. And like those kids, like little kids, are going to be on it, and like we're people that are over the age of 20 right now are going to be like, I don't know what to make of this at
I
all.
wonder if I mean, I wonder if the next step would be almost like hologram projections, like you could like talk to somebody via hologram.
Right. And kids are just going to be having their holographic friends in the living room playing and shit. And
Yeah,
everyone's going to be like, I don't know how I feel about this.
like I think that would, because I don't know what else you can really like, because you can already do like FaceTime and Skype and all that stuff, so you can already talk to somebody through video chat.
Right.
I mean, you can send videos through Snapchat and Instagram and like all that stuff. I mean, you can do like 3 or 4 party FaceTime and all that shit. So I would imagine the next logical step would be like,
There's a Tom Hanks movie that
can little Timmy come over? And now little
was
Timmy
just
just
put
like
out
a
about that.
holographic projection.
yeah, there's definitely that's probably where it's going. Is but everyone thought that 20 years ago, everyone thought like holograms were going to be
Well, that was
like
probably because of like Star Wars did that in the original
Yeah.
Star Wars, like a really crude.
and they never took. There's been a bunch of things that people thought were going to go and never took at all.
I would
like-
imagine that it's got to be. There's got to be a price point in it too, though. I can't imagine like a holographic phone would exactly be. I mean, a new iPhone's like $1,000.
Right.
Like it's the 8X or X8 or
That
some
sounds
crap
reasonable.
like that. It's $1,000 for a freaking cell phone, dude. Like that's crazy to me.
Like I think non-Apple laptops aren't even $1,000.
No, I was listening to a radio show the other day, and they were talking about like all the iPhones coming out. There's 3 iPhones coming out like this week or next week. They're all so it's like the 8, the 8X, and the X, and one of them is $1,000. That's like what you would pay at a store is $1,000 for it. That's crazy.
And it holds just as much as the year before. or
They were
something.
asking. There's like a tech guy on the show. He's like they're a board ops guy, and he's explaining the whole phone. And the one guy who hosts the show is like, so it does the same thing as the other phones.
Right.
And the guy's like, well, no, the screen's bigger. Well, how's the screen bigger if the phone is actually smaller? Well, no, the whole front of the phone is the screen. The guy's like, but the phone is smaller, so how is the screen bigger? Well, no, the screen's bigger, it's got better resolution, and the phone's more money because they're buying the screens that Samsung uses, and Samsung uses the patent on the screen. And they're like, so it's $1,000. So why? So should I just buy the Samsung?
Right.
The guy's like, well, no, this is the Apple phone. He's like, well, but if they're using
But this
Samsung
this goes to 11.
technology, then why wouldn't I just buy the Samsung? The guy's like, because it's an Apple, and there's like more apps, and there's like better ways of like saving photos and stuff. He's like, guy hosting.
What's the one that you can
So-
drop in the water and it's fine?
Well, it was just fun. Like listening to this tech guy who's probably in his 20s is like, no, it's an Apple. Like it does blah 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 XYZ. It does all this crap.
It's got an outboard motor on it.
But it's using, but as he was explaining, it uses the same screen that the Samsung uses, that the Galaxies use, because they own the patent on that screen, and the insides of the phone are all.
Sony guts.
It's all pretty much like Hitachi parts.
Right.
So the guy's like, well, if Samsung uses Hitachi parts, and Samsung has a patent on the screen, then why wouldn't I buy a Samsung for like $500, $600, and save $400?
They're like, no, you don't understand. This iPhone will last 4 more months than that one.
But the soundboard guy, the techie guy, was like, well, it's because it's the latest Apple. It's like the best one.
Yeah, people will get.
And you
into
could
that
just
stuff.
like hear crickets. The guy,
right.
Like, he
No,
goes,
there's
okay.
people.
He's like, sure. He goes, but I'm not spending $1,000 to have,
I've known a few of those
best
tech
phone.
junkies that gotta have the latest and greatest no matter what. Like they'll sell their kids to get like the iPhone, the new one.
No, I don't get it. I mean, I understand it. I don't get it. I mean, I know that there are people out there that want, it depends. I mean, you play guitar and you want a distortion pedal and you really like this distortion pedal and you've had it for 10 years and it sounds great. but there's new ones coming out that's supposed to be better, so you got to buy that because it's better. But it does the same thing as the other one, except the knobs are shinier, but you want it because it's brand new.
Right, and it goes to 11.
It goes to 11. There's crap on his phone that I haven't even begun to like touch, so I don't even care.
Try to predict what's going to be the next thing. Like if you were going to think of anything at all, like what would you think was going to be like the absolute next huge thing? Because everything's kind of stale right now. Like we've all seen it. Music sucks right now. Everyone knows it. You know what I mean? Like the phones have been square for a while and look the same and done the same thing for a while. So what's going to be the next thing? I don't know. I have no. Besides, like, I mean,
anything.
like everyone's going to do it. Like
talking tech wise.
No, just anything. Just anything. Like, where's it going to come from? Is it going to be music? You know, like I don't think music's. I don't think it's going to be music. You know, I don't know if it's going to be like. Is it going to be some philosophy? All of a sudden, everyone just started meditating, which is cool and all. I love meditation, but like, it just happened all at once, kind of.
Wow, that's a good one. Okay. So without really thinking, without going too far into it, I think it's going to be automotive wise, and I think it's going to be. I know that they're slightly doing this now, but I think in the next, I'll predict 5 years, one of the big three is going to have a car that drives itself.
You think 5 years?
I mean,
they're
already
out now.
apparently BMW already has one, and I think like Uber in Europe's been using it. From what I understand, they've been testing them in Europe. But I could see the big three here having something that would be available. I mean, I think it would be an absolute flop because I think people still want to be in control of their car.
I wouldn't know how to dodge potholes.
It would freak me out. Like if I'm like in the passenger seat or the back, like where do you sit? Do you sit behind the wheel or do you just like sit in the back like you're being chauffeured around? Like it just kind of would freak me out.
That would be a really tough thing to get used to. Just kind of like not having any control. You know how like a lot of people are backseat drivers. Like who do you tell to hit the brakes?
Well,
you know,
like I would imagine that it would be
who do you tell to
computer
go when the light
controlled
turns
speed
green?
limits.
Right.
Sort of like how you used to be able to put a governor on cars and shit. But like, have you ever been on your phone and you're like, hi, and then the reception just drops and you're like, well, that's stupid. I drove under a bridge. What?
Oh yeah.
Like what happens if you're just like driving and you're in like a dead zone and then the car just flies into the wall? Like what? Like.
Right.
Do you take over at that point? Like, does it flash at you?
My dad and I were talking about that one night, and he was like, it won't be a thing because of insurance. Like, who is the insurance if it gets in an accident? Like, who's liable? You know what I mean?
That's true. But I mean, just off, like, without going really too far into it, I think it would be something automotive because music is, I'm not really sure what's going on with music. Like I'm like
I don't want to bash it too bad because there's still some good stuff coming out, but at the same time it's like I don't know.
I mean there's there's definitely like a huge bunch of choices for music wise. Like you could find anything. I mean I have Sirius in my car and there's like I could find anything I want to listen to. And it's so like it's hard to say where the next trend is going.
Well, like the big style of music that's going to blow up.
I mean, it was a lot easier 15, 20 years ago to figure out what's coming up. You know, like when like that garage sound hit in Detroit and everybody was doing that.
Right.
Sort of like garage sound. That was easy to predict because there was like a couple bands that hit it and then everybody just started going after that. But like, no idea music-wise. Like, no idea.
That's right. This is it. The halfway mark. What actually had happened was this podcast went a little too long and I had to edit it down, and instead of slamming two completely different topics together, it just kind of conveniently fell in the halfway mark. I think this is somewhere in the middle of the podcast, so congratulations. You made it halfway. So that means that it might not have sucked if you're hearing this. And I will say that this podcast actually gets better from this point on. So there's that. Congratulations. Congratulations. You made it. You made it. Continue, shall we?
I don't fully believe in coincidence. I think a lot of shit is actually
the alt-right
strategically
has
planned.
amazing scientists, and they put together those hurricanes to get the heat off of Trump. I think, man.
Oh God, I wish I could say I was lying, but I completely read some bullshit where there's these
See?
fucking wackadoodles out there that are just like the government controls the weather, and I was like,
There's it. Well, I mean, do they? I mean, can they? Is that a thing? Like, is that possible? I don't know. I'm not that much of a scientist or
I'm just no.
meteorologist.
It was a funny article. Like these people were dead serious. They had like facts and figures and statistics. I'm gonna just tell you that our government's not controlling the weather to keep its freaking citizens at bay and to control people. Just because some conspiracy theories are wrong doesn't mean they're all wrong. There are a lot of things that happen behind closed doors that we will never know. Some of it, I'm sure, is for our own, as citizens of this country, it's for our own safety and well-being. The government just sort of takes care of, and we don't know. It's sort of like your parents. Maybe something happened when you were a child, like in your household, and your parents just didn't tell you because they're like, well, we fixed it. It's cool. Like we don't have to move now. Like your dad lost his job, and maybe you guys are going to lose your house, but they figured out a way to keep the house, and they're just not going to tell you because no reason to create panic or to make anybody upset. It didn't happen.
Right.
Sort of thing. But everything we just talked about all goes back to social media too. Because all of this stuff is put out there because anybody can write anything.
People taking it a little too far. Like, I don't know if I can really say this because I don't want to say a name or anything, but I saw a flyer on Facebook about someone. It was like a picture of a flyer at a bar, and on the flyer was a guy, and then like the title was, this guy is a fascist and he's a local dude, and it had his number, his address, like his work number. I couldn't believe that. I was like, I've never
illegal as far as I know.
Right? I've never, but it was all over the place.
I mean, even if it's true, it's still, you can't like.
It was on social media. It went everywhere. Like I saw it. I didn't even know the dude. I didn't know the situation.
And it's just probably just people just repost and share and repost.
That is so insane to me that it gets to that level, that it can go that south. He didn't hurt anyone. He had opinions. He had views. And he got put on a flyer and sent around social media because he said something. I mean, not even hurt somebody, nothing. Not even like just something someone didn't want to hear. Put him on a flyer, names, numbers, addresses. What? I couldn't believe that.
Well, it's crazy shit, man. I mean, well.
And I wonder, like, that was about last week or something. And I wonder if anything, if anything came of it, if, even if what if it was a joke? It's a prank. Some guy's like pranking his friend, like his frat buddy.
Yeah.
And does that.
Like, hey, Kyle's a racist. Freaking this dude.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like his buddy is just walking down the street and someone goes, that's the guy and gets murdered.
You're like, no, it
was a prank, bro.
It was a joke, dude. Like we're hazing him.
Right.
It's a hazing prank for the frat. And then your buddy's in the hospital. You're like, sorry, dude. My bad. Like, he's not racist. We just were fucking around.
I didn't think a lot of people had Facebook.
but that's part of the. I really do. There is a huge issue that comes with social media, and it's responsibility, and people don't have it, and they don't know what it is, and it's a scary thing because you can do anything you want on social media because 9 times out of 10 you can create an account, right? You don't even have to put your name on it. You could be freaking Joe Shithead with a totally different profile picture and nothing. You could just start posting a bunch of shit.
And the only time it really matters is on a government level because they got your IP address and all that stuff. They can get at you that way. But like anyone else who's not government or is not a hacker is not going to know who it is.
And you can just post whatever the hell you want. You're gonna get some dum-dum to start following you and liking your shit, but all your stuff could be.
Isn't it funny how it always goes negative? It's never like someone's a positive troll.
Yeah, you're not gonna get
Like you could say just anonymous. And he's like, "You look great in this picture." Send.
Yeah, people are like, "Who's that guy's problem?"
I hate that guy.
That's what it is.
The anonymous positive troll. That's what I'm going out. That's my Halloween costume. For sure. That's it.
Social media does have a lot of good aspects about it, for sure. But I personally think like the negatives somewhat outweigh, like, because people gives people that would never say anything ever,
Right.
gives them a voice now.
Troll culture is such a slimy, disgusting thing but people want to jump in there because it gives them that high. It gives them that high to sit there and be able to do that type of stuff. It's so weird. Like, it's so hard to find positive stuff, you know?
Flip the coin, though. My personal favorite social media people are the doom and gloom with no explanation.
Yeah.
You get the post
the
that's
vague
like,
post.
Here you go. Today is a rough one. ...
And then someone's like,
it.
what happened? And
no, nothing. It'll be like 30 comments. You
Right.
okay, Kyle?
Yeah,
Is everything
yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Kyle,
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
buddy. Call
What
me.
is
It's wonderful.
that?
Here,
Yeah.
hugs and kisses, Kyle. And then you're like, it's just rough. There'd be like your response,
Right.
it's just rough. And people are like, dude, are you okay? Then nothing.
right, yeah.
Like,
So that's their high. Like, that's their high. They're like, every time someone comments on them, they're just like, yeah.
those are my favorite people, though.
Yeah,
Those
there's a
people,
lot
like,
of
I'm
that.
just like,
I see
you
that a lot,
can't,
too.
like, but what it is, though, you are right. It is their high because what they want is they want to say life sucks. And then they
Yeah.
want people to be like, no, it doesn't. You're cool. I love you. Hugs and kisses. Everything's going to be okay. And the whole time that all that person wants is like validation, whether it's real or false.
But is it the troll having a bad day? Because you notice when the troll, or not the troll, when anyone does that, no one's jumping on them like, you suck, man.
Right.
You know, is that like the troll being like, I'm having a bad day, and like he is so low, or she is so low, like maybe not. Maybe, you know, I don't know what that is. Maybe that's just a bipolar thing. Or maybe that's just a depressed person. I don't know what that is, but
Good point. I mean, is it too much to explain, or is you just don't want to explain? Like, are you just looking for validation? Are you looking for someone to like give you a hug, like an internet hug, or are you looking like,
just, it's kind of like,
you know what I'm saying?
seeing who's listening, seeing who cares.
You know what I mean? Like, instead of like,
I don't
like
know.
they don't explain. It's what's weird. It's just like life
Right.
sucks.
Yeah.
... You're like, and you're waiting for like the other part of like, why does life, like, did you lose your job? What, like, would you fall down the steps? Your dog died.
It could be anything. Yeah, it could be
But
like
they
from
never explain it though.
them smashing their toe to their parent dying to they
Right.
witnessed, you know, or it could be like they're out of sugar.
Right, but
You know?
that's the thing. Positive people like to explain why they're happy, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I think it's a little bit of a fad. I think it'll just burn out. I think eventually people will just be like, all right, I'm not doing that anymore. You know, just like the goat thing, like, and go. Remember, like everyone's like, you know, name blah blah blah, go. And
Yeah.
they would, like
Five
now-
favorite bands from 1984.
Right.
Go.
Yeah. People used to do that a lot, and now it's like you only see it every now and
Yeah.
again, and you're like, oh, they're still doing that.
Yeah.
You know?
Now the big thing is what the recommendation thing. Kyle's looking for recommendations. He's in Sterling Heights. He needs gas. Like, what the
Really?
fuck? Like,
I haven't seen that one.
it's
too much.
like a new
Huh.
recommendation thing that people just come up and so now you got 40 assholes telling you where to go get gas, but you've already got it because it took 40. You know, like, you're really gonna sit there waiting for people to tell you recommendations? Like, are people?
Gas holes.
Yeah, it's a
Had
weird.
to.
Social media is a really odd thing, and considering that we're on it right now,
Yeah.
But it's
well,
still-
well, yeah.
it's still an odd thing, though. I mean, it's.
I
don't
could
know.
see how you have to set boundaries, you know, like when I was 16, 17, I
Right.
could see like that being really, really tempting to just jump into the social media world and just stay there and just that become your identity, that become your life. You know, that, you know, we're not ever going to experience it that hard because like we've kind of, you know, our identity was formed before that stuff.
Sure.
But
Well,
like
yeah,
people,
right.
you know, that are teenagers now, like they're just, that's them. That's their whole existence. That's their identity. plural identities through however many accounts they have. You know,
Right. You can be internet social media friends with people in other countries, but chances are you're never going to actually meet those people. But a lot of kids nowadays consider all those people their friends.
right?
Like how many?
That's a good point too, because I don't like how in Facebook how they say friends. Like what? I don't like the idea of saying like that person's my friend. You know, like friend to this person. They need to loosen that up a little bit. You know, like kind of like broaden that out a little bit, because yeah, people take it a little too seriously. Like the idea of like you click somebody to add a friend, is not they're not your friend.
Yeah,
They're just like
yeah. So yeah, you
acquaintance.
add somebody in the freaking Netherlands,
Right.
and you're just like you chat online.
Okay, keep the friends, sure, fine, but have another button, like have another category, like acquaintance or
I think they do have an acquaintance, but I don't know if it pops up like for everybody else to see.
yeah, or
I think
add
it's
when
your
you
personal
add.
thing that you can type like you can have a close friend. All it says is like friend, like your friends, and then it'll say like mutual friends. But I don't. There isn't something that says Kyle's acquaintances.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like they don't have the.
Or when you go to add somebody, like add, send friend request, send acquaintance request. Why can't you do that? Like that seems because people get so how do you know this person? How do you know me? Where do I know you from? If you're gonna be my friend, people get so like into it sometimes.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't care. Like whatever, they understand how it works, but a lot of people get caught up in the whole friend thing and take it literally. It's like, you're like trying to network and kind of like,
Yeah.
you have something like a cause, like, how you're into fitness or whatever. It's just like you want to kind of get some people that have the same interests and stuff like that, and you're kind of going through like this thing and adding people and looking through profiles and whatever. Just kind of building a network, and like people freak out sometimes. People like will really get paranoid. Like, why are you adding me? Who are you? Like, how do I know you? Like, oh my god.
I personally, my personal favorite though is well, besides like the doom and gloom people, but my other thing is I love when people like are no longer like you're friends in real life, but now you're not friends in real life because you just freaking argued on Facebook.
Oh,
So like
yeah.
I can't be your friend anymore because you argued. Like
Yeah,
your
that
opinion
happens.
differs from mine on Facebook,
Right.
so I'm not your friend anymore. Even though we were friends like in real life, but I can't be friends with you at all. Period.
Right.
Because you differ from, like, I said something that you don't agree with. Now I can't be your friend.
There's actually an app you can get. I forget what it's called. I should look it up anyway. But anyone can look it up on Google. It's like it's an app out there that exists. It's free, and you set parameters for the posts that you want to see on your Facebook. So if you don't want any political posts, if you don't want any posts that have keywords, you can just type in words that you don't want to see, and it'll block all the posts that have any type of words or or political stuff, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Which is a good idea if you want to keep friends.
A lot of it too, though, is people just can sit behind a keyboard and there's no responsibility. Like you just, especially if you're,
Like our president. That's great.
yeah. Well,
Right?
I mean, it's just the whole keyboard warrior mentality is just like there's a girl that I follow that's a physique model. She's not a bodybuilder. She's a physique model, but she
Right.
is very ripped, like six pack, like her traps and shoulders. Like she's in really good shape. But she posted something, and it was about her diet because she's got a competition coming up. So she's on this diet to lose the water weight and shit like that. And there was just this comment. It was like 3 people went back and forth with this one person, and it was just negative shit. And I'm like,
Right.
You took the time to go to this person's page, to look at her picture, and then be negative about it, like for no reason. Like, it just seems like that's so, like...
I'm a keyboard warrior for good.
But it was funny, though, because, like, if you click on that person's profile, like, you can... This was on Instagram, by the way. But if you click on, like, their username or whatever, their profile is private. So it's like, you're going to dish it out,
Right.
but your profile is private, so nobody can see...
Those are the ones that dish the most out.
But it's like, why... I don't understand, like...
It just seems like from what I see, people like to hate. People love to hate. No, I don't even know. Like's not even in the equation. People love to hate.
Why? Like, what do you suppose the reason is? Why do you suppose
it's
people
easy.
are more negative than I think positive?
Because it's easy. It's easy. It's quick. It's a quick rush. What it's like any other things that are super addictive. Like it's an instant gratification thing. It doesn't take anything to build.
Do you think those type of people get off more being negative than saying like, "I hope you have a nice day"?
Oh yeah, yeah. Because it takes a little bit of courage. It takes a little bit of self confidence to say those things. But like it's quick. You don't have to have anything. You can just drop hate all day long for no reason, and it'll cause a reaction. An instant reaction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's an instant gratification thing, I think.
Like, I don't even feel sorry for those people. I just think it's sad. Like, it's obviously something's wrong.
The default of human nature is negative, super negative, and then people kind of climb up from there and kind of pull themselves out of it later on, or if they try to, or some people just never see a need for the negative at all. But I think the default of human beings is just negative. Think about your brain when you're just sitting here chilling, like hanging out by yourself, doing like how many great thoughts do you have? Or is it mostly like your own brain is going, you sucked at this, no one likes you. Like how you know what I mean? Like your brain even your own brain hates you when you're just sitting here thinking about stuff. It goes negative. It just goes I think that's just a default. I think you got to like struggle and strive to like get out of that negative space. A lot of people don't even know that's an option to like get out of that space, or like they've never even realized the fact that like there's something else than that.
Right.
I don't know.
No, I would agree. I would agree with that. I think there's a lot of I think there's a huge amount of negativity towards a lot of things. I would agree. I think people are very negative, and for like odd reasons too. I think obviously a lot of it has to do with themselves, but I think it's for sure.
I don't know, but the thing is, because I struggled with that a lot. Even just nothing to do with social media, just being in a neighborhood. And seeing neighbors being like, they don't wave to you, you wave to them, they don't even care, they live there, they're your next door neighbors and they won't even wave to you and stuff. And you didn't do anything bad to them. There was no conflict or anything, but I've noticed that a lot,
Well, it's definitely a different, it's a different time. People have become so freaking withdrawn from actual society, actual going outside society. I think it makes people socially inept, and it's sad because like the art of conversation is it's almost all but gone. I mean, people don't even know who poets are, dude.
So getting back on the addictive thing or whatever, if you think that you are not addicted to your cell phone, people out there in
podcast land,
in land,
land,
turn off your phone. Turn off your phone for 1 solid hour when you're just home on a weekend doing nothing. Just turn off your phone and watch how you freak out. And then you'll know if you're addicted to social media or your phone or whatever. Like just turn it off for an hour, all the way off, and see how many times you go. I'm guilty of it. Like I try it every now and again. I turn off my phone and then I catch myself. I just automatically search, my hand just goes like wherever my phone usually is. I go, oh yeah, I shut it off for a reason. I got to remind myself. But yeah, like clockwork, it's just like a natural reaction. I'll just kind of search for my phone. Just like, and I don't even think I'm addicted or even bad with it, but like I'm still like that, So like if you want, that's a really good test. Just turn your phone off completely for 1 hour. There's voicemail. If someone calls, it'll go to your voicemail. Like we won't miss a thing. You won't miss a thing. There's messages, all that stuff. No, you're not gonna miss anything.
If you don't think you're addicted, like you might not post a bunch of shit, that doesn't mean you're not addicted.
Right.
So if you're listening to this, just because you don't post shit every day, find out how much shit that you like.
Right. Or
Like,
even
how
just
often do you like shit?
just scrolling through feeds. Just like how addicted are you with that motion, with that finger motion, to just scrolling? Like it's ridiculous.
Like, do you go through your Instagram every 2 hours hoping that somebody refreshed their feed so they got new pictures?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Or if you actually put a picture up, like how many times do you refresh to see who liked it and who
yeah.
You know? Yeah.
When at the end of the day, you're still going to have the same number of likes.
Yeah. It does not matter. Like if you check it, but it's that rush. It's that like, oh my God, so much. And you like, it's you get that rush and then all of a sudden things are good for 3 seconds and then you put the phone down and then.
Now the guy that you talked about in the beginning, was it, I saw something, was it a dude sitting in a chair and there was a guy like sitting in another chair, like
I'll show
interviewing
you.
him?
Yep.
I think that's the guy that I saw, and he was basically saying the thing was...
I'll tell you right now.
The thing was, it's that instant gratification of people saying, they like me. They like me. People like me kind of thing.
Yeah, this is the guy. His name is Simon Sinek.
I think that's the guy.
SIMONSINEK.
Okay.
Social media is a good, bad thing, whatever. It just all depends on who's doing it. But yeah, there's got to be some kind of accountability at the end of the day, and whatever. It sucks that a lot of people don't feel that way, but
Personal responsibility.
Yeah, and people are much cooler that have that.
Yep.
At least I think so. It's really odd.
Personal responsibility, man. Freaking say it, own it, do it, own it. Otherwise, just don't talk. There's consequence with anything that you say, whether it's good, bad, or indifference. There's always consequence.
If you got a anonymous profile out there just dropping hate on people,
that's pretty weak.
I just can't imagine that that's a good idea. That's all. Not a good look.
No. And rest in peace, Grant Hart. One of the most underrated drummers in the punk genre. Underrated.
Until next time. All right.